Hey everyone, Fun Machine here, and welcome to a new series of videos where I'll be going over some of my mistakes in my Nuzlockes, trying to educate you all how to avoid doing the same, and how to improve from what I did, called How Did This Happen? The clip I want to review today comes from a Platinum Hardcore Nuzlocke I've been doing recently. So I'm in the Galactic building in Eterna City, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is just the Jupiter fight, right? He's just made some misplay and is now at the mercy of her skunk tank. It happens to us all. I would love to confirm that suspicion, as it's much less embarrassing for me, but no, not quite. Let me introduce you to Scientist Travin and his Lone Kadabra. Now, as you can see here, my team consists of Monferno, Golbat, Marchop, Budgie, Noctowl, and Bibarel. 4 of these Pokemon are weak to Psychic and have pretty low special defense, meaning they are essentially useless, as they will get outsped and one-shot. So my only options here are to lead Noctowl or Bibarel. So of course Monferno is the first one to be sent out. I really can't tell you why. And this puts me in a disadvantageous state immediately. If I leave Monferno in, he gets outsped and very likely one-shot, so I have to switch out. I check the special defense of all my Pokemon, and Noctowl has the highest with the highest HP, so we'll be able to tank the incoming confusion with ease. Mistake number 2. I forgot that most Scientist trainer classes use X items, so rather than going for confusion turn 1, Travin simply uses an X special, which means Kadabra is now +1 special attack, and turns basically all of the confusion one-shots in most cases scenarios into confusion one-shots full stop. Mistake number 3. I try and go for Hypnosis to get the sleep and easy victory presumably, and of course I miss, meaning I have now wasted a turn and only have 2 turns left maximum before Noctowl, one of the only 2 Pokemon I have to deal with this Kadabra, goes down. My plan now becomes getting as much damage in as possible, so if I need to sack someone, I can bring Monferno back in and Mach Punch for the kill. Mach Punch does around 20% according to the calc, so I need to get another peck off, but I'm risking a crit now. So I switch out to Bibarel. With its unaware ability, it will ignore the +1 boost that Kadabra gets from the X Special, so it'll tank confusions a lot nicer and return with a powerful headbutt of its own to probably score the kill. However, upon switching, he is confused by confusion. So now it's a 50-50 whether I hit through the next turn and kill it, or if I hurt myself and set myself up to be swept and end the run. Knowing how bad my RNG has been this fight so far, I take the safe route and switch back to Noctowl to heal the confusion. Noctowl lives on 4 HP and of course gets confused immediately again. It doesn't matter because the plan was always to switch back to Bibarel, but come on man. I switch back to Bibarel and now confusion crits, leaving Bibarel on just 7 HP. Now both of the Pokemon I had to deal with this Kadabra are one shot away from death and get outsped by Kadabra. It looks grim. I've fumbled this fight so much that now just one more misplay could cost me the run. So with some more calculations, I noticed Golbat can live a confusion on about half the rolls, and not seeing another out, I allow Bibarel to die and switch her in. Thankfully Kadabra has low or no speed IVs, so Golbat outspeeds and kills with a hard-hitting bite, ending the battle. Now I'll be the first one to complain that the RNG I got in that fight was atrocious. Everything that could have gone wrong did, and I could just leave it there. But this is an educational source, and one of the first things you need to learn about Nuzlockes is risk control. Yes, my RNG was bad, but there were a number of things to prevent myself being in that situation in the first place. Let's start from the start. This trainer was optional, with a capital everything. Not only would this trainer have disappeared once I beat Jupiter, I didn't even need to fight him to get to Jupiter. I just saw some items and wanted to get a blue shard for later in the game, and not realizing if I just beat Jupiter first, I wouldn't even need to fight the guy for the items. So that was clear mistake number 1. The second mistake was a little less common knowledge, but it was knowledge I possessed and just didn't think about because I wasn't paying too much attention to a simple trainer fight. Scientists, at least in the Gen 4 games and especially Team Galactic scientists, will have about one of 3 Pokemon: Magnemite, Porygon, and Kadabra. It was a little too early in the game for Magnemite and Porygon, so Kadabra was really the only option. That much information could be obtained without looking it up, which I could also do, and I also did, as I had Bulbapedia on Jupiter right there on my other monitor, but I just didn't check the trainers. Obviously, mistake number 3 was leading Monferno. There was literally no reason for that, as even if I was going after Jupiter first, Monferno would not be my lead into her Zubat, so I should have had Noctowl or Golbat in the lead. Mistake number 4, as I had mentioned, was not realizing it was a scientist, so they are likely to use X items, meaning I essentially had a free turn, and arguably if I knew this, even with Monferno out, I could have Flame Wheeled into Mach Punch, and as long as Kadabra had less than 15 IVs in each stat, it would have killed. Mistake number 5 was trying to be too fancy with it, and not going for the straightforward play. Sometimes in Nuzlockes you can get in your own head about minimizing damage to your team and trying to pivot in your preferred Pokemon when the right play is just click the fight button. If I had just clicked Peck twice rather than going for Hypnosis, I would have been in a much safer position to at least have the safe win with Mach Punch if one of my Pokemon were to die. Finally, there was the mistake of just being too lazy. You'll notice I have 2 friendship evolutions in my party and neither of them are evolved. If I had a Crobat, I would have easily outsped and one-shot with Bite without having to risk it with Kadabra's nature and IVs. Budgie being evolved wouldn't have really changed anything, but it's still a lesson to be learned. If you're doing a Nuzlocke and have friendship evolutions, evolve them as soon as you get them, unless they learn a really good move as their pre-evolved form exclusively, or get the move before a certain level cap on a gym, or basically unless there's a reason to hold them back, evolve them right away. It might seem obvious, but even some of the best players can forget that simple trick when focusing on so many other things. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video will help you out in your Nuzlocke runs. If you want to see the rest of this run, you can catch me on twitch.tv/funmachine8, streaming at least once a week around the times of 4 to 8 PM AEDT, or join my Discord for more accurate notifications for when I stream, as I do a lot of bonus streams not during the set time period. So I hope to see you there, and you might just catch one of the fights I use for these videos live.